just to make sure the stream is actually going. Is it going now? Oh, it's going. Okay. Just to make sure the. Okay, so check the stream. Make sure everything's so good before we continue. Is it good? Okay. Okay, sounds good and clear. Right. So I'm so underprepared. I'm kind of worried that I won't be showing that much. But yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm back for IMRP. This time it's for the state of this series. Now, so it's alright. It's like. So before we do the proper intro, I just want to say that I wasn't really sure in doing the sleeping series. Doing the sleeping series because it sounds like Riska and IMSA. I feel like I decided to go ahead with the idea because they're basically IMSA, and it just so happens it kind of translated into something that wasn't my original idea, but I decided, hey, we should do our own version of the statement series. Guess that'll be cool. That'll be cool. Have more like a podcast, not on a podcast either, but something more like something to talk about with you guys on a stage. But yeah, alright. And so, to everyone who started last season, I just want to say thank you for staying with us throughout season 8 and right now. But we got a lot of things to talk about here. It was a very, very turbulent season, the first half of the year. But it was a very, very significant summer for all of us involved. Because I didn't think we're gonna have such a huge following in 2023, given that we added Daytona prototypes and we're now just having LP2. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and say welcome to the state of this series. It's our first edition of our version of the state of the series from IMSA. And yes, we have a lot to talk about with this one. So for today we're gonna talk about things that are new in IMRP, things that are returning to IMRP. And there is a very significant event that we'll talk about. We're in the state of the series. So what's new for IMRP? Well, LP2 is not new, but it's coming back as its own class. But it will have 2014-2016 Ligier JSP2. Which by the way will have like 3 different engines to choose from. Nissan, which is basically a rebad Zytek, so Gibson. A Honda, which is carried over from the Acura and the Judd, the last of its kind. But yeah, we'll talk about IMRP that's kind of refreshed. So parts of IMRP will receive either a minor or major refresh. depending on how outdated some parts of IMRP are. So since the version was first revealed, I thought of have revamped things many parts of the driver testing game. A lot being the thumbnail, the icon, some sort of like server icon, and maybe the sports icon, and this was sports if Boku doesn't come back from school or something. We'll see if we eventually get a revamp for many of them. Okay, so IMRP will not have a major refresh for season 9. A retouched version of the quest decals used using season 8. So DP obviously has been will be renamed to Daytona Prototype International to be in line with the real life class. LMP2 is just P2 because LMP2 is kind of too long. But it will use the same blue that was intended for last season before switching to green. And speaking of, it will be that exact green that we'll be using for GTS, which we'll talk about in moments here. So DPI is still red, LMP2 is blue, just like its real life counterpart, and GTS is green, and similar to GTD. For GTS, and it'll be the only new, technically new class for this season, excluding LMP. And technically the new class, but LMP2 is actually the new class of the season, which we'll talk about already. So for GTS, remember when we had like two different GT classes, kind of like GTD Pro and GTD in IMSA, so that was kind of a mess to track. But now with LMP2 in the mix, we'll do a merge version of that called GTS, which is named after the GT1 Centric class during the American Le Mans Series period. So as for the amount of cars that you can enter, we said that DPI will be restricted to 6 cars, so 3 transfer manufacturer in Cadillac and Acura. So for DPI, also for all the classes, we'll accept the first 6 and then put the others into a reserve list, which I'll review in about 2 weeks after I accept the first set of teams for the season. Now there will be 6 DPIs, which I said before. 9 LMP2s. So 3 Nissan, 3 Jet, 3 Honda. And for GTS, all but 1 car will have like 3 spots each. So we're gonna talk about Corvette. So Corvette will have just 2 spots, so it's kind of mirroring Pratt and Miller, running just 2 cars in real life. If you exclude La Competition, of course. They ran Corvettes for a couple of years. But we're gonna just ignore that and say, yeah, we're gonna do 2 cars for Corvette. Now, sponsors. What's next for sponsors? Well, we're doing a partial ban for sponsors. for like the next 2 seasons. So like season 9, season 10 will have a partial ban being we'll do Tires of Fires first, then maybe next season we'll do a fixing. We'll do a ban on real life oil lubricants. We're gonna do including release some fictionalized versions of those equivalents. But for now, season 9 we'll just do tire suppliers. And then by the time we get to season 11, there'll be like a full ban on sponsorship. So prepare your fictionalized versions of sponsors in advance, because it's will be very significant by the time we get to autumn 2024. Now, over demand for like rear engine vehicles, because this is gonna be a long conversation about this. So, if you remember, there were more Porsches than I'm gonna pull up the actually let me pull up the spreadsheet here. So. Alright, so I'm gonna pull up this guy here. Just stop. Nope. No. Okay. Actually, no. I'm just gonna say here. Last season in we had so many rear engine cars. It's just not fair. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 in GTD, and there's like 13 more GTC. Yeah, 30. So for there's a lot of cars in GTO, rear engine cars in GTO 1. So to counter that, we're introduced something called what I call the WEC plan, which is basically restricting a team, like one car per manufacturer in GTS. And we'll do the same in DPi and LB2, because who needs like tons of Porsches when you can just restrict them all to like one car per manufacturer. But yeah. We can say that if you're planning to run a Corvette, there's like only 2 spots, so decide wisely. And if you're planning to run a rear engine car, aka the rear engine getting the Porsche, Lamborghini, and McLaren, make sure you plan wisely, because there's gonna be like a lot of demand for all of them. For like all 3 of them. I think more so in Porsche and Lamborghini than McLaren, but whatever. So yeah, that should give us like 36 cars. Okay, so I'm gonna cut up to numbers so we can kind of confirm this. So for Corvette, obviously 2 spots. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. So 15 in the prototype process alone. 15, 9, 3. So like 41 spots be like 41 cars alone, like 41 spots. So I guess there's a lot of uh, cars to choose from, obviously. So about 41 cars, but we're gonna restrict um, the grid to like 35 cars to prevent lag. So we'll talk about pre-qualifying in moments here, but we're gonna talk about what will happen to teams that fail to qualify for like 3 races in a row. So if you're one of those teams that fail to qualify like 3 races in a row, you'll be bumped down to the reserve list. And then the next team with drivers will be put up to the entry list, the provisional entry list. So make sure you have active drivers for season 9, because there will be a lot of cars trying to qualify for all the races in season 9. So we'll accept notional list of teams in July before pre-season testing 1. So if you have a team ready but no livery, you could probably join Traversion, which I'll send a link in the partners channel after this. So stay tuned for that link. But before we move on to the second part, we're going to talk about Sound Suites. So Sound Suites have been part of IMRP since a couple of seasons ago. And I want to be linear with real life. So to be more linear with real life, we're gonna how to revamp every single sound suite that for cars that run since last season, including the 9 webinars, because that will substitute for the G3R, so the 992 model, and eventually get a model for the 992 G3R. So far I've done Lamborghini, the Nissan engine for the BGA, Mercedes, though I'm still not happy on how it turned out. The C7R and the Cadillac, although it still needs more touches because I'm still not happy about it. So on the waiting list, I'm planning to revamp Aston Martin, Ferrari, Porsche, BMW, McLaren, the Acura NSX. I also touch up on the Jet and Honda engines later this month, or maybe in August. Now, what's new for season 9? Okay, so we already talked about this in season 8 before Zola, but we will do a World Endurance Championship for Shadow format to lessen burnout between races, and to kind of prioritize my own personal life, because I've been burned out for like the last couple months during season 8, and I don't want that to repeat again. Now we'll review a special class, though. The special class after we talk about all what's new for the rest of season 9. Okay, so we'll have 6 races, 3 endurance races, and 3 sprint races. Those 3 endurance races will be Daytona, Sebring, and Le Mans. Yes, you heard that right. Le Mans is coming back to IMRP. But here's the catch. This version of Le Mans, of Le Saf rather, is entirely made from scratch. It's not a remodel. It's not a rebrand version of the free model, Le Saf. It's a completely built from scratch version of Le Saf, which will reveal to you guys once I'm allowed to do that. But DPis has we kind of teased it a couple of times in June and July, and June actually. Yes, yeah, it'll be interesting because I've only seen pictures of it, and DPis is more information than Le Mans. As for the length of the races, so pull up here. Okay, so Daytona will last 4 hours. Sebring will last 2 hours now instead of like 3 hours. And Le Mans will be a 4-hour, also be a 4-hour race. So for Daytona, we're going to do our own take on the Road Resort 24, which will take place in August. The last week of August. Race day for the George Trophy will be on September. The last day of practice starts in the last day of August. Practice will continue through September, and then we'll do qualifying and the race will be in September. Le Mans, there'll be for Sebring, there will be a 1 week buffer before we get to Sebring. And then after Sebring, there will be like a huge 1 month buffer because I want to prioritize light first. So after that, we'll do Le Mans. And there will be PST and pre-event testing. Is it there'll be like 3 test days of for Le Mans in the 3rd week of October, which I'll review here in a second because I still need to type that out. Right. So happen in from 12 to October 12 to 15. No, we're not the first league to do Le Mans, but this is the first league to. I think this is like the 2nd league to run their own version of Le Mans. Yes, that's kind of true actually. No, FM Le Mans, yeah. I think, yeah, I remember League doing Le Mans before. I mean, their own Le Mans made from scratch. But this is like the first time we'll do our own version of Le Mans from scratch this season. We're going to continue. We're going to talk about the sprint races now. So, a different format for sprint races. Each race will each sprint race will last an hour and 30 minutes. And but here's the catch: they will start later than the endurance races, so I can prep up ahead of ahead of every sprint race, which I'll review in moments here. So we'll review the venues for 3 of those races. Zolder Imola and Buriram. Now, Imola is a returning venue that runs since season 7. Of course, you know, it was supposed to run last season, but it got cancelled. But Zolder in the past has done services as an endurance race twice now. But now we'll be demoted as a sprint race, and so as well as Buriram. It'll happen from November to mid-November to early December. So, why is there a huge 1 month buffer between Sebring and Le Mans? Well, answer simple. We'll have a couple of family friends from the US coming back to celebrate their parents' birthday. So we have a huge buffer for like 1 month to kind of prioritize life over tourism. Okay, back to Lola. So, not. So, what's around in the schedule? It will start in early September, a week before the 5th anniversary the hill climb event I would explain in later in the second series, but the only major break that we have will be on my holiday, not my holiday, but the Philippine national holiday on November. So that's like our only major break this season, but the rest will just be buffers just between races. Okay, so for Zolder, because it's now a sprint race, it'll have an entirely new title. So that race title will be the Villeneuve Grand Prix after Gilles Villeneuve, of course. So if you're asking about the structure for season 9, I'll talk about that structure later because I've yet to prepare that. Alright, so 5th anniversary festival. Now it'll be just one event, like technically 2 events because it's a split format. But there'll be a huge event on the second week of September after Daytona. So I happened on the week of my birthday, and it's a event that I have done before in 2021. And I teased this in March, April. It was supposed to happen. It was supposed to happen in March and April. But because there's a lot of work and there will be a lot of work involved, I decided to put it on the week of my birthday, just to catch everyone by surprise. Because Saturday will be on, because the showcase will happen on my birthday. As for the shootout event, I'll explain in moments here. So the circuit race show, the second edition of the circuit race show will happen in September, right? So it will take place after Daytona, but before Sebring. And I'll review the venue. It will be held in Imola with its very own layout. I remember Boxichan once considered like so many tracks. I think he said he mentioned Sebring because there's a lot of room for Sebring. So before Imola, he once considered like 3 different tracks, those being Sebring, Daytona, and Buriram. As for Sebring, there's a lot of wiggle room because since it's on a, I don't know, former USAF runway, USAF base, so it makes sense that you'll have lots of room for a potential venue, but I don't think Sebring would work given how flat Sebring is. He also thought Daytona but he couldn't do Daytona because there's not much to do for Daytona. And for Buriram, there's not a lot of room. It's also like Sebring, and there's very little room. He said that we can use drag strip in parts of the carport. But there's very little room. Plus, Buriram has been an IMRP since 2022, so I don't think it would work. And Imola not being raced since season 7, the inaugural edition, so I think it works. So naturally, it will be the venue of choice. Alright. So if you're sitting here right now, wondering what the circuit race show was, so it is basically our own take on the Goodwood Festival of Speed, but there will be like 6 different groups, and so like 15-ish groups in the Roller Festival of Speed. And speaking of, it's actually live right now. I think it's live, I don't know. But instead of it being on a next to a equipment tribute, but instead of being in a garden, right, like the festival stage, it will take place on a permanent circuit with its own layout, with its very own layout, which I'll reveal in announcements after the State of the Series. So the circuit race show was held in 2021, was first teased in 2020. If you were here in 2021, you might remember it being held at Monza, which was actually the last year for Monza before it got faced as an IMRP venue. And we'll stick with Italy as a template for future editions of the CRS. If we do have plans for it to come back, of course. So for the second edition, we'll have 6 different groups. Oops. Oh god, excuse me. Right, so 6 different groups for every class of vehicles. So we're going to do class 1, go from 1 to 6. So for class 1, we'll prioritize just the road cars. So road cars from the Roblox car community. So if you're confused, these cars are called SWATs. They're called SWATs in the car community servers. So from anyone from the car community, they'll have their own group. Which is kind of funny because I was originally going to do the car community trophy, but I decided, nah, there's not enough space. Just do growth. Just put them in the CRS. Alright, for Quest 2, special purpose road cars. So, we're not talking about GT cars, but we're talking about road cars that have their own purpose on the track. So, if you have any road car that is fit for the CRS, I think this will be your class. Yes. Because I've seen people in 2021 have their own do that. Special purpose road cars. So it's kind of natural that it will come back as its own class. So class 3, production-based road cars. Yes, we're talking about touring cars, GT cars. Yes, this will be fun because it might have cars from IMRP and outside IMRP through Project Car Sharing. So I'm talking about. So I have put on VTCC TCR on the draft, but for some reason I thought, hey, VTCC will be good, but I'm gonna do TCR for safety reasons. So that's the class 3 in a nutshell. So class 4 will prioritize the Le Mans prototypes. So LMP cars from the 1950s, from right now to right now, we put in this class. I don't know how many people have a prototype though, that's the problem. But I do have plans to include LP2 and T cars from the upcoming season. So that's my intended fund for that class. But we'll talk about that if we do have enough interest for that. So class 5, I have experimental vehicles. Experimental vehicles mean G56 style experimental vehicles from Le Mans the last decade or so. Because I do know from my heart, Vestergaard is planning to enter a Delta Wing in the experimental class this season. Oh, I'm finally running one, not yet confirmed. Oh, I do know Maka was planning to run a hybrid Hurricane. He decided, nah, I'm not doing that. We'll talk about being on the chat. I'll put you up later. And the last class will be class 6, hill climbers. Yes, these type of cars will have their own class. Just because it's simply not fair to put in a class 5, a class 2. Just because they're faster. Okay, so hill climbers. How many people have run a hill climber? Not too. There was like a couple in 2021, but that was it. But yeah, that's generally it. I tend to spend that much for hill climbers. So if you're interested, do the CRS. Sign-ups will open in early August once regulations are ready, which you do not have at the moment. If you want to help, just let me know in the Q&A later in the SOTS. Now, this is the last one we'll do for now. The road racing games. Now, what's happened to the road racing games? They've advertised it like multiple times already. I've advertised this multiple times already. Well, the reason I advertise this is because it's to pique interest from competitors within and outside IMRP. I remember from a way I was supposed to race on it. I put put summer 2023 or something like that, but said we got cancelled. No, was it? I can't remember where it put it, but I've done it once. Now with the way I decided, to update that to be in line with the new calendar. That'll be in around between from January to February, which I'll explain in moments here. But I'll try to explain more on what has happened to the road racing game since it got delayed. Now, well, there was not enough wiggle room. For me, there was not enough room to prefer between season 8 and season 9. And given that season was severely shortened to part of its life, I had to cancel for the year and then move it to 2024. Once I'm back from a mini break. A month break on the draft. I put a month break on the draft. And it will not be a month, like 2-month break. Right. So you have been living under a rock for a good while, and don't know what the road racing games is about. I'll try to explain to you in brief. So the road racing games is basically our own version of the FYA voice war games. It runs like every 2 years. Every 2 years. It's every 2 years. But because this is real racing, we're gonna do it every year. Like every year, once if IMRP is still alive during that period that is. So remember, this was supposed to be in July after season 8 finished, and then because there was not enough room to prepare the course for July, we had to move it to 2024 between January to February, and it will be in a very familiar venue. Well, not familiar. Well, it's kind of familiar because Viendra actually showcased this venue before. Thanks, Viendra, if you're watching this right now. It'll be taking place at Tokyo Expressway. Yes, that track from Gran Turismo Sport. And I'll actually reveal here in a moment here. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. So we'll be on the southern loop layout, just like in the last time we ran at this venue. We'll try to reveal to you guys. Oh. Alright. That should be it. Okay, so this is Tokyo Expressway. Southern loop. So this was supposed to be for season 8 and then it got cancelled. So what's new for the Southern loop layout? Well, it got revamped, a huge revamp. So it's more like in line with its GT7 countertop. But here's the twist. There'll be no pit lane in this area because there's like zero space to put it in. Where is it going? Okay. So instead of a pit lane right there, here, yeah, there'll be a pit lane on the start finish line, just like it was supposed. That's like where it was supposed to be placed in. That's the only major thing that was added since during the break. But the circuit has had a massive revamp, a massive one. So I'm gonna just scroll through what's revamped for Tokyo. Not much here, but just sign saying like already. I can't read the kanji, but what's new? So as we get to the what's this area called? I can't remember. But as we get to this area, you can see how much it's been somewhat renovated. That's a huge runoff area. So this double wall, there's like a huge runoff for you to return to the track. Kind of like more in line with its GT7 counterpart, like I said before. So walls are angled instead of being straight, like complete straight. And there are parking areas for the trucks. It's more like its real life counterpart and GT7 counterpart. Brake lines on this corner, so there's a huge rebound on this corner, catching the goals. Yes, there's a rebound on these as well. So what's in the tunnel? I don't think there's a huge rebound in the tunnel. Yeah, that's not the measure, but well, the one up to the hairpin is almost the same, except that it's been retouched. It's been rebound to match its T7 counterpart, of course without the pit lane. Except for the pit lane. And that's pretty much Tokyo exclusive for you guys. So, format will be released in November once everything is ready. And of course Tokyo will be a very tight and but fast way out. So the schedule will look like this. Right. So the schedule will look like this. There'll be one half a week's worth of pre-event testing for all 3 classes, right? So happening from Thursday to Sunday in January, the second week of the month. The track will open in 7 p.m. For open manual standard, and then close in midnight. I mean, not in midnight, but rather in 10 p.m. I mean, same time zone. So for week 1, we'll do the Miata Cup. Open practice for that. This will open same time as usual. 7 p.m. Manual standard, and ends on Friday 11 p.m. So for Saturday, there will be qualifying 1 at 8 p.m. lasting for 40 minutes. Race 1 at 9 p.m. It'll run for 25 laps. Same thing for Sunday, but it'll be a little bit later, so I can prepare ahead of the event of race 2. So qualifying 2 will start at 9 p.m. Race 2 at 10. For TCR, alright, TCR now. Practice is the same. Yeah, I think it'll happen on the second to last week of January. And GT3, for GT3, practice opens on the last week of January, and then will last on technically the first week of February. For TCR, there'll be slightly longer races, 32 laps versus 25 for the VIP Cup. GT3 will be slightly longer than TCR's, 40 laps. But otherwise, same quality format. So what's next? We'll reveal the event's official logo in November. Sign-ups will reopen in mid-November. And the deadline will be on the last day of December of this year. Yeah, that will be it for the SOTS. We're going to do the Q&A. So if you're interested in Q&A, request or chat in general, so you can ask me about anything relating to IMRP. Alright, so Q&A time. What the what?
Sorry, my mic was hit.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, the admin has arrived.
Right, let's do some Q&A. Well, for some reason, only 3 people exist.
I feel like this season is with the calendars. So we start off in America, then we headed to Europe, and then round things off with the only Asian race in the calendar.
Yeah.
So it must be quite a. I mean, we will. We gonna have night race as well, right?
Yeah, we'll do night races. So Le Mans and Daytona will have twice a run. Okay. Have an environment
Twice.
round the clock.
Wait, so
Technically,
you mean
twice
that?
around the clock. But it's just
Okay.
it's just the environment. T-Ring will be only once around the clock then. Based on the environment, of course.
What about there'll be rain?
Ooh, the rain. I suspect that it probably is case by case. Maybe. What do you think, David?
I don't know. I didn't hear what Osana said.
He said, would we have
Rain races.
Rain.
Well, I'm not open with that idea. I think I will not rule it out because Race for the Cup will do a rain race this weekend. And
Okay.
rain races are not on my priority list. But I might consider doing a ring race at some point next year.
Okay. Oh. Orlantic is about to got us some questions there. I feel like we have filled absolutely every single list that the cars that we have, right?
Yeah.
It's literally every seat, like every team is full. And it's pretty nice diversity as well. I mean, how many teams do we have now?
It's like more than 10 teams. Do we have?
Oh,
There's like a lot of them. Ooh, GPS. We were talking about
it's
GPS.
right.
GPS for race control. Might have to ask about errors and about that to errors and tennis if we want to continue using that. But otherwise, I wouldn't have ruled that out either. Yeah, GPS will be a good idea, but we'll have to talk to Aris and Tenny about that.
It's gonna be pretty tough to do on Roblox even.
Yeah.
Although in other games, you know, you could. I mean, in racing games, you could definitely see that it's definitely working. But in Roblox, it's a lot tougher to do unless if you have a very high level of skills of scripting.
Yes. Yes, I'm surprised Aris even scripted something like that at all. So, and it's a very useful tool. So, while we haven't considered putting that into any circuit yet, I wouldn't rule out that idea either. Now we're have you guys to ask the final set of questions.
Hold on.
No, it'll be the same.
Same engine?
No,
Okay.
No, same tune, but all three engines will have their individual sound suite.
Like bonnets?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that's interesting. So power the same, but definitely different sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because if I feel like if we have different horsepower for each engine, then that means, well, some cars would be outperforming the other. But in that case, we have to put the maybe we could introduce the weight penalties of that, like, you know, BOP.
Yeah. Yeah, BOP will be a little tough for that.
Yeah, especially with these kind
Yeah.
of situations.
Because
The DPI only runs 6 cars. Is it 6 cars? That's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah,
Trying to ask.
yeah, 6 cars. So three Cadillac, 3 Acuras.
Maybe because of LP2.
Yeah, LV2 exists.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, good. I mean, you could. I mean, what you could do, I suggest, in next season is that maybe we just take out one prototype class and then we just do just only prototype a GT.
Merge TPI and LV2. I don't know if that would work. Because that sounds like 2014, 2016 IMSA.
Pretty much, yeah. Just only LMPs and just only prototype GT cars.
Yeah. The rest this season. Yeah, I already explained it. It will say and will accept one set of teams this early July based on their quality.
Okay.
LP2. So about 15 DPs. Well, no, 15 prototypes overall. There'll be lots more for GTS. But because of the it's a grid cap, we're gonna reduce it to like 35 on the first wave of.
So we're doing separate waves that the
Yeah.
team's gonna be announced, right?
Yeah.
And the maximum teams that we could allow to enter, that is 35 cars.
Yeah, 35. I mean 35 cars.
So could be just like definitely can say maybe 10 to 13 teams to fill that 35 cars.
Yeah.
Or could be more, to be honest, if we do allow it. But I feel like for your judgment, it might depend on the quality of their liveries as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any revolutionary for IMRP in Season 9 doing?
As in a renovation? There will be no major renovation. If you're talking about IMRP as a server, there'll be no major renovation. But I'm aiming for a major renovation next year for Season 10.
Maybe, I don't know, could be something. Only Season 10, okay. I mean, it's a special season, so...
Yeah, 10 season is kind of like a preliminary season.
Yeah, Season 10 I already died.
Yeah.
I love how you use the freaking hiya.
The classic hiya.
Hiya.
Two sponsors, well done. Oh, I already got 2 sponsors in real life. But yeah, that will be it for the SOTS if there are no more questions to ask. Wonder Plus and Unix. Oh, I do recognize 100.
Yo! Freaking Unix, a freaking Batman.
100 plus.
Oh.
100 plus. Well, if you can recognize a sponsor from Shudi. FNN.
Unix? I feel like I probably only associate Unix with freaking Batman and Racket.
What the fuck? FNN. What the fuck's an FNN and drink?
Fountain drinks?
No. I'm not.
No. I don't think that's the right one.
End of the
No.
Pressure?
I have no idea what you're supposed to say.
I don't know what the...
What the fuck's an FNN and drink?
FNN. Oh.
FNN.
FNN.
Oh, this.
Huh?
Alright,
Right.
this
Oh, it's a brand.
Oh, FNN.
Oh god, it's a brand.
Oh, I do.
From
Oh wait, I do know this because there was like a Sarsi brand FNN. My mother actually showed me this FNN.
Oh. Oh wow.
Because Sarsi is a very well-known drink here in the Philippines, so the association is kind of funny.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So that association is kind of hilarious to think about because Sarsi is a Persian word. Jesus Christ, yep. That's a distinct memory right there. But yeah, that will be it for SOTS.
Sponsor me for my upcoming content and Unix,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I'm real.
You're going all out with that yawn.
Yeah, no, I was supposed to end this right now, but I was like, oh my god.
So don't be surprised if I hit it literally had to have pulled that sponsor. Yeah, but I'm not surprised.
Yes. But yeah, that's SOTS, you guys, in August. I mean, in late July.